You're at dinner with friends. Everyone's laughing, the conversation is flowing, and from the outside, you look perfectly fine. But inside, you've already registered the micropause before Sarah answered a question. You caught the shift in Tom's posture when someone mentioned his new job. You noticed the server's shoulders drop slightly after that table was rude to her. And now, 3 hours later, you're lying in bed replaying every interaction, analyzing what each tiny signal meant. They tell you you're overthinking, that you need to relax, stop reading into things, just enjoy the moment. But here's what they don't understand. You're not choosing to analyze. Your nervous system is wired differently. You're processing information at a depth most people's brains skip entirely. They call it being too sensitive. They say you're exhausting yourself for no reason. But neuroscience calls it something else entirely: sensory processing sensitivity. And it's not a flaw in your wiring. It's a different operating system that comes with extraordinary capabilities they'll never access. Today, I'm going to show you the psychology behind why your too aware brain is actually reading layers of reality others can't even see. There's a concept in neuroscience called interoceptive hyperawareness, the heightened ability to detect and process signals from inside your body and the emotional environment around you. And 2025 research confirms something crucial. Approximately 15 to 20% of the population has a nervous system that processes these signals with exceptional depth. Here's what's actually happening in your brain. Most people have what scientists call standard interoceptive processing. Their insula, the brain region that monitors internal body states, activates when there's a clear threat or obvious emotional shift. Then it quiets down. Efficient, selective, like a security guard who only notices when someone sets off the alarm. But your brain operates on a different system. Research from 2025 shows that people with sensory processing sensitivity have heightened activation in the allostatic interoceptive network, a large-scale system involving your insula, anterior cingulate cortex, and orbitofrontal cortex. This network doesn't just react to obvious signals, it continuously monitors subtle changes in heart rate, breathing patterns, muscle tension, and the emotional micro-expressions of everyone around you. Most people call this overthinking. Neuroscientists call it deep processing, and it's fundamentally different from anxiety. Think of it like this. Imagine two people listening to an orchestra. The first person hears music, a pleasant overall sound. The second person hears every instrument. They notice when the second violin is slightly out of tune. They catch the subtle tempo shift in the fourth movement. They process the emotional arc the composer embedded in the dynamics. Both people heard the same concert, but one person processed 1,000 times more data. That's your nervous system. You're not imagining details that aren't there. You're detecting signals that are actually present, signals most brains automatically filter out to conserve energy. The wrong belief most people hold. If you're noticing this much, you must be anxious or paranoid. The correct belief: your nervous system has evolved to detect subtleties for deeper pattern recognition, empathy, and complex decision-making. The exhaustion doesn't come from processing too much. It comes from living in a world that doesn't validate what you're actually perceiving. Not everyone develops hyperawareness for the same reason. Research identifies 3 distinct pathways, and understanding which one applies to you changes everything about how you manage it. Origin 1, the natural processor. This is someone who was born with sensory processing sensitivity. From childhood, loud noises felt louder, textures felt more intense, emotional scenes in movies hit harder. Their nervous system came pre-wired with what scientists call enhanced depth of processing, one of the 4 core dimensions of high sensitivity. What drives them? a genetic temperament trait found in approximately 15 to 20% of humans and observed across over 100 species. 2025 studies show they have more active mirror neurons and heightened connectivity in brain regions responsible for awareness and empathy. From the outside, they might seem fragile, easily overwhelmed, too much in their feelings. But the truth? They're processing environmental and emotional data at a resolution others literally cannot access. While most people see the surface of a social interaction, they're constructing a 3D model of everyone's emotional state, relationship dynamics, and unspoken needs, all happening automatically, whether they want it or not. Origin 2, the survival scanner. This person wasn't born highly sensitive. They became hypervigilant. Neuroscience calls this state acquired hyperawareness, often rooted in growing up in an emotionally unpredictable environment. Maybe they had a parent whose mood shifted without warning. Maybe affection came with conditions. Maybe safety required constant monitoring. What happened to them? Their amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, stayed activated for so long during development that it rewired their baseline nervous system. They learned to track micro-expressions to predict anger before it erupted. They memorized which footstep patterns meant danger versus calm. Their survival depended on reading signals others never needed to notice. From the outside, they look like natural empaths, highly attuned, emotionally intelligent. But the truth? This isn't just sensitivity. It's a defense system that never learned to fully power down. The awareness that once kept them safe has now fused into their identity. They're not processing deeply because they want to. They're processing deeply because their nervous system still believes their survival depends on it. Origin 3, the interoceptive amplifier. This is someone with what 2025 research calls heightened interoceptive accuracy, an unusually strong connection between bodily sensations and conscious awareness. They don't just feel their heartbeat during exercise, they feel it constantly. A slight increase in heart rate from caffeine is interpreted as anxiety. A normal stress response feels like a crisis. What drives them? Research shows certain individuals have enhanced activity in the insular cortex, the region that translates body signals into conscious feeling. Most people experience their body as background noise. These people experience it in high definition, every shift in temperature, tension, hunger, or arousal amplified. From the outside, it might look like health anxiety or chronic worry. They're always checking in with their body, monitoring symptoms, interpreting sensations. But the truth? Their nervous system isn't malfunctioning. It's receiving data most people's brains automatically dampen. The problem isn't that they feel too much. The problem is they live in a culture that treats embodied awareness as pathology instead of a different way of experiencing the world. So what does all this tell us? Your hyperawareness isn't a bug in your system, it's a feature, one that comes with extraordinary capabilities. While others operate on autopilot, you're running a sophisticated analysis system that detects emotional patterns, predicts relational dynamics, and reads environmental shifts before they become obvious. The research from 2025 confirms that people with sensory processing sensitivity show enhanced creativity, deeper emotional intelligence, and superior ability to detect meaningful patterns in complex situations. Here's the hard truth nobody wants to tell you. Modern culture values speed over depth. It rewards people who can suppress emotional data and keep moving. Every time someone tells you to stop overthinking, what they're really saying is, please process reality at my level so I feel comfortable. But here's the positive opposite. What your hyperawareness is really choosing. You're not avoiding life by processing deeply. You're living it at a resolution most people never access. While they're following the map, you're seeing the entire terrain. While they're reading the plot, you're understanding the subtext. The depth you experience isn't excessive, it's what's actually there. They're not seeing less because they're healthier. They're seeing less because their nervous system filters more. Think about this. Is there a relationship in your life right now where you sense something shifting beneath the surface, something everyone else says you're imagining, but your system keeps signaling that something is genuinely changing? What if that signal isn't anxiety? What if it's your allostatic interoceptive network doing exactly what it evolved to do, detecting patterns before they become crises? You already know what you need to do. You've known it every time someone dismissed your perception and later you were proven right. Consider this your permission. Stop apologizing for the depth at which you process reality. The world needs people who can see what others miss. If this video helped you see your hyperawareness as a different processing system, not a broken one, I want you to do one thing. Comment below with one time your overthinking turned out to be accurate pattern detection. The moment where everyone said you were reading too much into something, but you were actually right. Because every one of those moments is evidence that your system isn't malfunctioning, it's perceiving signals others filter out. And if you're ready to go deeper, to understand how to honor your sensitivity without getting overwhelmed by it, the next video breaks down the exact strategies. It's already waiting for you. I'll see you there.